Is it? We're gonna get to it. Start at 5:30. Good evening. Welcome to the June 3rd, 2024 Valdese Town Council meeting. We'll start with the invocation, and then we'll go to the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'd bow your head, please. Father God, we gather here today under your care and protection. Thank you for your loving kindness that never fails us. We thank you for those of us that you would guide our thoughts and actions to bring glory to you and not to ourselves. Strengthen us and fill us with your peace. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, Council, quite a bit of reading material in your packet this week, a lot of good information, and I trust you at least skimmed over that, took a good look at it. We'll go to open forum, and under open forum, the first thing tonight, I want to recognize our Police Chief, Mark Sharp. And I must say I'm impressed, sir.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, City Manager, Town Clerk, fellow employees, and citizens. I think we can all agree many times in everyone's job, some of their greatest efforts or an exemplary performance goes unnoticed or is not recognized. As an opening, I would like to share a brief synopsis of perhaps the most touched moment of my career thus far to illustrate what I'm speaking about. Around 2005, while at the SBI, I worked a sexual assault case involving two little girls, small children who were 5 and 6 years old. Without going into great detail, I was placed in a situation where I had to make a decision in the case concerning the suspect, who was their father, of which they had very little contact with. The girls were not direct victims of their father's wrongdoing, but were collateral damage in the case. In that case, I allowed the little girls and their mother to come to my office and say goodbye to their father before he was sentenced to the rest of his life in prison. Fast forward to 2018. I had just left the SBI and put many cases and the details of my past in my past. I was actually going on a fishing trip to relax and needed a fishing license. As I stood at the counter and a female employee reviewed my license, she looked at me and simply asked, "Are you Mark Sharp, the SBI agent?" I said, "That could be a loaded question. Why would you ask?" And she got teary-eyed. And she said, "If you are him, I met you when I was 6 years old. And while that moment was a horrible experience for my father, you did your job. He got what he deserved for his wrongdoing. But what I remember is you were compassionate enough to let me say what I needed to him that day, and I didn't really even know him at the time. I will never forget you for what you did for me on that moment, and I just want to say thank you." I tearfully hugged her and admitted who I was. Then we parted ways for the second time in our life. That was a chance encounter, some of you may believe, but it's the greatest reward of my career thus far, and something that I thought at the time was unnoticed and never even spoke about until that moment. I want you to hold that thought. On April 19th, 2024, each of the seated employees in this room with the Valdese Police Department were instrumental in locating, securing, and rescuing a 27-day-old infant reported missing from the state of Florida. And I think I'll reiterate, 27 days old. They worked several days investigating in an attempt to find the child, which we had information may be in Valdese. But Florida authorities were unsure exactly where they were at during that period. Much time was spent, which lasted between entire shifts of the department over several days, and constant communication took place between officers and sergeants to ensure that we continued working on this case, and it was high priority. Once the child was located through investigative techniques, a mother and father had to be communicated with in a tense situation to ensure the child was turned over to Florida authorities as requested on a legal order that had been sent to the Valdese Police Department by the state of Florida. Judges, attorneys, Department of Social Services, the state of Florida Department of Children and Families were all communicated with through Valdese PD to ensure this situation was properly handled. When their time was called to step into the arena, each of them did so and completed the task when Florida authorities arrived just before midnight on the day the child was located and transported that child back to Florida. Their duties during that time period consisted of investigations, planning, transporting, child care, meal prep, counseling, feeding, and yes, even rocking a child to sleep at the police department. I want each of you to know someone was watching that night. It was your chief, and he was watching. And I want your town to know about the job you did as a team to complete that task. I would ask that you all stand at this time. And I would like the members of the room to give you a thank you by applying some applause for your efforts. In closing, a letter has been shared with the council from the state of Florida, as well as an exemplary performance letter from me that will be placed in each of your departmental files. Perhaps another unknown should be shared about this incident. The mother of the child that was sent back to Florida told me that night, leaving the Valdese Police Department, that unfortunately this was not the first child that had been taken from her. She added that in her life she had had many dealings with the police. Then she said, "I have never been treated with the compassion and kindness of so many police officers in a bad situation." For all of your department was only good. I can only hope one day one or all of you are rewarded with the chance encounter, in this case, from one of those individuals involved that turned out the right way. Thank all of you for your time.
Well done. I don't know of anything else to say, but well done and thank you. And Chief Sharp, thank you for making this public information. Okay. Council, next under open forum, we have 3 speakers tonight. Wendy Harden will be our first speaker.
Good
Good
evening. My name is Wendy Harden, and my husband and I and 3 children reside at Springwood neighborhood in Valdese. I was born and raised in Morganton and am a public school teacher. My husband is in the IT business and often works from home. As a constituent of this council, I would like to speak about a new business trying to be established here in the town of Valdese. That business being Foothills Broadband, a fiber optic internet provider. After speaking at length with Mr. Zachary Chiz, the founder and chief operating officer of Foothills Broadband, I learned the company signed a 1-year lease in April 2023 for a .21 acre piece of property located at 204 Janeville Avenue Southwest, currently owned by the town of Valdese. This property was used to place a large piece of the main infrastructure for the broadband equipment, with the agreement that the lease would be extended for 10 years. The property was vacant at the time and not generating any income for the town. With the current lease to Foothills Broadband, the town collects $500 per month, and then with an increase at an agreed upon set rate in the extended 10-year lease, the town of Valdese would generate $79,000. That's a pretty good deal in my opinion. The large piece of equipment has been installed and the company is ready to proceed. However, from my understanding, there has been some resistance from the newly elected town council members who were not serving at the time of the original lease agreement. Without the renewal of this extended lease, the business essentially will be inoperable. The concern seems to be whether Foothills Broadband will come through with their end of the deal, so to speak, and complete the installation and any repairs to city-maintained roads and sidewalks that have been disturbed during the process. In my opinion, as a constituent of this council, this really is an issue that should not ever even be discussed. How do you expect to expand any town, community, and/or business, as my late father would say, without any growing pains? Which do we value more, pavement or progress? Interruption of traffic and sidewalks, or displaying a community who embraces the future, especially when business owners who are born and raised right here in Burke County want to invest in their community and help make it the best that it can be. May I speak about the character and moral values of Mr. Chiz, founder and chief operating officer of Foothills Broadband. I have known Zachary and his family for many years and taught Zachary, his twin brother Eric, and his older sister Andrea in children's choir at Burkemont Baptist Church in Morganton some 20 years ago, thus giving away my age. The Chiz family is honest, hardworking, and committed to our community. Through the years, I have seen multiple displays of utmost ethics and honesty in Zachary during his teenage years on mission trips, in vacation Bible school, and in hearing about his success from his family after he graduated and left for college. The Chiz family is always willing to help and have proven to follow through on any commitment they make. Zachary and his wife Jody have a vision to help provide this service not only for current residents and businesses, but also for future growth of our beautiful town. In closing, I ask that you vote to renew and extend the lease of the property to Foothills Broadband and allow Mr. Chiz and his company to begin providing fiber optic internet to the citizens of Valdese, North Carolina. For my family, that means having access to much needed and faster and more reliable internet service. For the town of Valdese, this means the ability to offer fiber optic internet to larger businesses and franchises looking to expand in our area. For citizens without current internet connection, Foothills Broadband will allow them to have basic levels of access for safety, security, and support. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Tamika Garrison, ma'am.
My name's Tamika Garrison. I live at 807 Michael Avenue, and I apologize for my swift departure, but I'm preparing to leave the country to take 7 teenagers to Guatemala. So I want to address the conversation among town council about the opportunity for pay increases for our town employees. I also want to say that I'm available to expand upon any of the things that I'm about to say to each member individually or collectively, because I believe in the systems we have in place and that my voice as a public servant, volunteer, and concerned citizen is important both in this setting and as a neighbor of this town. The fact is, we've all been affected by inflation and the steady increase of costs nationwide. Town of Valdese citizens have been no strangers to this themselves. I also empathize with the folks that have been expressed on who had to take out a loan to pay their taxes, because I too had to borrow money to pay my taxes this past year. I was pastoring a small church. We had several unexpected medical expenses, and my father's health declined, and he died on Christmas Eve, around the time that we would have typically been expected to pay our property taxes. My husband, being the main source of income at the time, is a Valdese town employee and a Valdese citizen in Ward 1. As all of you know, responsibilities don't stop because of our circumstances. Our council person at the time made phone calls to us, checking in and offering his support for us throughout all of our tough circumstances, being a friend first, a neighbor second, and a councilman third. Another town employee that I want to give you an example of with a 4-year college degree could not get approved recently to purchase a home in city limits because their income was deemed inadequate for a first-time buyer's loan, with the cost of living and median price of homes now in Valdese. This individual has been forced to look outside of our town for homes because of these circumstances. There are several examples of town employees who are in tough positions financially, and other employees who have donated their banked sick or vacation time to support one another through various tough financial hardships. For those of you on the council that serve in civic organizations and public service groups, you're made aware of many of these needs because you are volunteering your time serving the people of Valdese. Most recently, I had the privilege of serving 2 mobile food drives within our community, one at Abernathy Methodist in Rutherford College and the other at First United Methodist here in Valdese. I personally recognized over 20 of our town employees receiving food between these 2 ministries because grocery money is sparing on a town income. There are other stories I can't share due to privacy and the fear that has been cast over the vast majority of our town employees, many of whom I'm sure would love to feel the same support we felt through our own adversities. I share all this to say that I'm more than a little concerned. We all know that based on studies, neighboring municipalities will be experiencing a labor shortage. That means open door opportunities for our town employees to seek positions elsewhere with better pay, leaving Valdese with unfilled vacancies for long periods of time. Vacancies that would put an undue workload on existing employees. Vacancies which we have had in recent past. Let's not try so hard to lower taxes to prove a point that we neglect our most precious resources. Let's think forward about the future of our town and the well-being of citizens, employees, and services. I stand before you, council. I'm not asking you to agree with me or to take my word for it. I'm asking you to consider that there's more out there than you may be aware of. I'm asking you to hear the voices of the 25+ employees through my words here today. Equity is not just about money or resources, it's about being fair, and I pray that you will be equitable in your decisions this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Cole.
Excuse me. Oops. Sorry. My name is Jean Marie Cole, and I live at 705 Berta Street in Valdese. Changing the subject from all of that. I was disappointed because I was kind of disappointed at what happened with the last agenda review meeting. Had it all set on my agenda to attend it, and sat in a parking lot at 6 o'clock at night. And of course, there was no one here, which is the second time a meeting has been moved within this year. And I have come to that same parking lot, found locked doors and nobody here because the meeting has been moved. That one was moved to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I couldn't stay. I think the change was made at the end of the last town council meeting. Unfortunately, I had to leave because my great-granddaughter is on a competitive cheer team. They were having a send-off to send them to Orlando, Florida for a global competition. Had to be there, wouldn't have disappointed her for the world. So obviously I missed that conference. I looked to see if that one was still on, just because I always do. Never could find anything. I mainly looked at the website for the town, never could find anything that gave a new time for the meeting. So maybe that I don't know how to use my resources properly, but I could not find that. I don't think I'm the only one who faced that, because there was at least one other vehicle that came in and left in the time frame I was there. I'm very concerned, and because I realize the value of those meetings, and they really help me to understand what's going on with my town, with the council, why they do what they do. And also from the reports that get made to them, it helps me to understand why some of the decisions have to be made the way they are. I also realize that our council members spend a whole lot of time on meetings and other business for the town. However, if you want transparency, which you espouse to believe in, and I applaud you for that, then it seems that this type of situation it gives the appearance of not wanting to be, because who's going to show up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon? I'm sorry, people are working, people care for children, they make their appointments at night. So that was my concern there, okay? I understand that's only my perception, and I have a feeling I'm not the only one who perceives it. Not saying that that was the actual intent, I'm saying that's how it gets perceived. I appreciate all the time and the effort that our council members devote to their positions. I approve of their efforts to have well-informed citizens and transparency on all the actions that they take. However, I think this reveals the need to fix part of the process. Currently, the only way to keep track of meetings and change is to call the town hall. The employees there are very courteous and they are very helpful, but this puts an extra burden on them. How many people will call per day just to check up to see if meeting times have been moved? I'm asking for help to resolve the situation. Could the solution be as simple as a group text message? I don't know. But please help those of us who want to stay forever informed to do this. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, council. Next item on the agenda, item 6. I think there's 14 items under the consent agenda. Are there any items under the consent that council wishes to be removed?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to remove item E.
E? Item E. Okay. Okay, any others, council? If not, I'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda. So moved. Second?
Second.
Further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, item E under consent. Approval of resolution of the Town of Valdese Town Council leasing property for a term up to 10 years to Foothills Broadband.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the 10-year lease that was submitted by a private firm effective October 31st, 2024, contingent upon Foothills Broadband having repaired all installation damage to the satisfaction of inspection by the North Carolina Department of Transportation or an independent engineering firm.
Okay. Would you mind reading that one more time, please?
That we approve the 10-year lease that was submitted by a private firm, Foothills Broadband, effective October 31st, 2024, contingent upon Foothills Broadband having repaired all installation damage to the satisfaction of inspection by the North Carolina Department of Transportation or an independent engineering firm.
Okay. Is there a second?
And so Attorney Swanson, to have further discussion about that and have that explained a little more, I would need to second, correct? Is that how that,
Yeah, you'll need a motion and a second before discussion.
First.
okay, just so, a second.
Okay. Sorry.
And then my comments, if I may. The background of this motion is that everybody, I think, agrees, and certainly this council agrees, broadband is good. Broadband is here to stay. This item is not about broadband or any particular broadband provider, but it's about what is best for the citizens of Valdese. There are 3 or 4 broadband services available to most Valdese residences and businesses, and soon there will be more. The broadband services will compete on speed, price, and other features to win a share of the 2,000 or so potential Valdese customers. The 2 issues related to this lease are that last year the town gave Foothills Broadband 2 business boosts. They approved an encroachment agreement that permitted them to install underground cable throughout the town's rights-of-way with 2 significant features. First, they had access to every residence and every business in Valdese. Second, they had the authority to dig and cut into paving throughout the town. The town received no compensation for giving the private firm access to the captive market, that is, the town of Valdese, or for the resultant inconvenience to citizens whose lawns and water service were disturbed or the damage done to the town's streets. The second issue is that the town entered into a lease that Foothills Broadband presented for a 1-year lease, and based on that lease, it was to allow them to encroach into the underground conduits that exist in the town and cut into the paving and extend fiber cable throughout the town's rights-of-way. That lease was for $500 a month, and that lease continues to this day and beyond on a month-to-month basis. There was no documented promise to continue that lease further. In fact, the original lease that was submitted by Foothills Broadband was for 25 years, but instead they changed that to a 1-year lease, and that was approved. And based on that approval, they have done a tremendous amount of installation at a huge cost. The fundamental problem with each agreement is that they were one-sided. First, the town did not require a performance bond to assure that all resultant damage would be repaired. I don't think any private business would have allowed that extent of encroachment without some kind of assurance that the damage would be repaired. Second, the town did not do any kind of financial verification of the firm's financial viability. The town has no idea who is the silent backer, if it's even foreign or domestic funds that is behind this project. The installation and street repair dates are constantly changing. The latest promise we've heard is that they will be completed by the end of September. So the prevailing situation is our streets will never be the same again until all of them are repaved. And if you drive down these streets that the Public Works Director says have been patched, you'll feel every patch. I swear you'll feel every patch. And some of them feel like they did before they were repaved. The only leverage that the town has to ensure that the repairs will be made to some acceptable standard is to hold the long-term lease until the cable installation is complete and all damage is repaired. There's no benefit to the town or change in the current lease terms if the town were to give up its only leverage in this arrangement by approving the long-term lease today or by having it be effective in October. So again, my motion is to approve the long-term lease, just hold it until we have all the damage repaired to our satisfaction. So that's simple.
A couple questions to our attorney. When he said we receive no compensation, does Piedmont Gas give us compensation? Does Spectrum give us compensation when they put stuff in the ground in Valdese?
Yeah, I can't speak to those in Valdese because I wasn't a participant in those particular agreements. I would say that primarily with encroachment agreements and utilities, the value added of the infrastructure itself is what you're getting as a town.
So there isn't any, so that's what you're saying, there isn't compensation?
I would say that's generally the case. Doesn't mean you
Okay.
can't negotiate it, but generally the case is the value added of the infrastructure.
Okay. And this financial verification, I mean, is it our business who the backer is? Is that what we're supposed to do every time a new business comes into town? Are we supposed to find out who's behind them or who's backing them? Is that stuff we're supposed to know as a council?
Yeah, I think from a town perspective, it's something you could inquire into. I'm not sure it's something that's been inquired into in the past. I will say, it's my understanding, and Bo may be able to elaborate on this, but it's my understanding that Foothills has provided an irrevocable letter of credit to provide
Wow.
some security for the project going forward. And Bo, if you want to elaborate, you're welcome to.
Yeah, that is correct. We got a letter of credit recently on that, so that is official now.
And the amount of that letter of credit?
I think it was 15,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in lieu of a performance bond, council, would that be an acceptable alternative?
Yeah, so the benefit, I guess, of a letter of credit to Foothills would be that they don't have to spend money they're not getting back, right? With a security bond or performance bond, you're buying the bond, so that's money that goes away, can't be used on the project. Letter of credit, you're basically just posting money with the bank, and the bank's providing a letter of credit, so your money's not gone. It's not used to purchase anything. So it is as long as it's irrevocable and the terms are appropriate, and I haven't seen it yet, but it's my understanding that's what they were going for, and I think Bo has seen it. So as long as you have that in place, that does provide security up to the amount of the letter of credit.
I'm not sure that I understand exactly what.
Yeah, so a letter of credit is essentially something that if there was a problem with the road and Foothills for some reason wasn't able to make the repairs, then the town would have the ability to go to Foothills Bank, who has pledged a letter of credit up to $15,000, and the bank would then pay up to $15,000 to the town so those repairs could be made.
Mr. Mayor, can we have someone from Public Works or from the town speak as to the conditions
Mr.
of the
Hudson.
roads? What percentage of the roads have been repaired? Have they been acceptable? Are they acceptable to the town of Valdese? Who would set the standard for these road repairs? Would it be council? Would it be Public Works Department? That's what would concern me.
Excuse me, just, if I might mention, my suggestion was the Department of Transportation or an engineering firm would verify the patches that they're appropriate. And you must know that patches get worse over time. The patches on Laurel Street are womp today, and they've only been there for a month or so. So, you know, what we're talking about here is what is the benefit to either party if we approve this tonight, if we make it effective today, or we make it effective in October. You know, that's the issue. The issue is not anybody's credibility. It's not the letter of credit that we haven't seen, but we hear this letter of credit. The issue is, what's at stake? Citizens, what's the benefit to citizens if we approve this today, if we make it effective today, if we sign it today, or what's the benefit to Foothills Broadband if we sign it today versus in October?
Would we not have to pay the Department of Transportation or an engineering firm to have them come in and inspect? Is that not another cost upon the town?
Yes, it would be,
It would be,
yes.
okay.
Why would the town pay to approve their work?
Can we have an opinion? Can you
Yeah.
give us an opinion as to is it acceptable? Is it not acceptable? What percent has been repaired?
Okay, with what repairs have been done, everything's been GPSed. We know where they're at. Everything that has been completed has been GPSed. And we have a standard, the paperwork from DOT, and that's what they're going by. When the asphalt company comes in and they take it out, they put the stone in, and then it's upgraded to 6 inches of asphalt. And yes, Mr. Harvey's right, once, over time, you will have settling and stuff, but there's a couple on Laurel. Are you talking about 2 that goes all the way across Laurel in front of the 2 new houses?
There are several.
Okay, because, you know, if those were those, they didn't do those. Those were installing sewer lines for the 2 new houses. But, you know, as far as, you know, what we have in their guidelines, we go by DOT guidelines. And that's what is being put back. There is still some places that are cold patched that is on schedule to be redone. Like I said, everything is GPSed and on a schedule. You just got a schedule to wait with the asphalt company to get here to do those, because he's got other plans and work too. So, but as far as everything that's been done up to date, 90% of those are complete. You know, asphalted back with hot patch up to, by the paperwork that DOT sends us as far as their perception of what is DOT standards for repairs.
So their repair work met the DOT
Excuse me.
standards. Don't interrupt, please, when someone's talking. Their repair work met the DOT standards, is that correct?
Yes, from what I've been out and personally watched the inspection, when they are doing the repairs, yes, they are doing exactly as the paperwork's supposed to be.
Councilman Harvey, I understand what you're saying. I was elected as you, and I don't have a vote, but I do have a voice.
The question I keep asking is, can someone explain the benefit to anybody? To either party, the 2 parties here, what's the benefit to either party if this agreement, which we all agree needs to be continued, if it's made effective today or made effective in October? Is there a benefit to either party?
I can, I'll say something. As a business owner, coming to Valdese and investing $3 million into broadband into Valdese and then getting delay after delay, we're wanting to delay a multi-million-dollar investment over 10% of road incompletion repair is absurd. We're gonna prevent other companies from coming to Valdese because they don't wanna deal with this town council. We need to approve this lease and stop delaying this. It's just ridiculous that we're doing this. We're telling private business investment, don't come to Valdese because they're gonna make it unbelievably difficult on you. They're gonna run you through whatever to prevent you from having a successful business investment. So I think it's sending the wrong signal from Valdese that we don't want investment in our community when we do. So I think it would be a terrible look for this council to postpone this. We're just going to prevent other private investment. This investment that has been made by Foothills, this is all private money. There's no grants given to this organization at all. It's just private money. They have millions of more dollars to invest in Burke County. This Valdese station will be the hub for all of Burke County. So we're impeding not only the progress of Valdese, but the whole county in not approving this lease.
How does approving the lease, how does making it effective today rather than October?
It's just holding it back. We have our strategic plan, which says economic development. We've got 2 local folks that are making a huge investment in our town. We have people who work from home in this town. They need this internet speed. We don't need to wait around and make this lease. It is not a good look on our town.
I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about what broadband's about, but, you know, I don't wanna stretch this out. The positions are pretty clear, let's just vote on it and move forward.
Any further discussions?
One thing before I sit down, y'all can rest assured that we are looking and we're watching as it goes, as the fixes are being repaired to the best of their ability and our ability, and we, as Public Works, we will continue to do that. And we have stuff on Public Works side that we've done in the past that is on our list, but, you know, we just got a limited time that we are able to work on things as our end, but we are working on those, trying to at least once every 2 weeks, so we will get there.
Alan, who pays for these repairs that are being done? Foothills?
Foothills, yes.
Are they in arrears on any of the expenses? Or are they behind in making any of these payments for road
Not
repairs?
that I'm aware of. I
Okay.
haven't heard anything from the,
And they fulfilled
the
all their
asphalt
promises and
contractor.
commitments? I mean, yeah, have they fulfilled everything that they promised to do as far as road repairs and,
yes.
okay.
See, one of the reasons I brought this up is we asked a month or so ago to have a detailed accounting of what's been billed and what's been reimbursed for the time that the Public Works employees have had to spend on this, for the materials and for the equipment. We've never received, the council's never received a response to that request. So we don't know where that stands. We just don't know anything, except that it's a bad look, I guess, if we don't just speed this along. But again, as I said, let's vote on it and move on.
If you would repeat the motion before we vote, please.
I have a question to Mr. Swanson. Mr. Swanson, I read the contract. There's something at the bottom of that about 2 years that we can pull out, or they can pull out, or something. Can you explain that to us a little bit more?
Sure. Even though it's a 10-year lease, there's a termination provision that allows either party to terminate upon 12 months' notice.
So, let's say that we as a council decide we don't want them here anymore, or they decide we don't want to be there anymore. Either one of us has got to give a 12-month notice to say it ends.
That's correct.
Okay, that's what I understand. Okay.
Okay, Mr. Harvey, go ahead,
So let me read the motion again.
please.
That we approve the 10-year lease that was submitted by a private firm effective October 31st, 2024, contingent upon Foothills Broadband having repaired all installation damage to the satisfaction of inspection by the North Carolina Department of Transportation or an independent engineering firm.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of Councilman Harvey's motion signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes?
Those opposed signify by raising your right hand, stating no.
No.
Okay, motion fails.
I would like to make a motion that we approve a 10-year lease with Foothills Broadband.
Second?
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Discussion or question?
Yeah, effective as of
Effective
July
tonight.
1?
Yeah, tonight.
Tonight, okay.
Okay. Any further questions? Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand and stating yes.
Yes.
Those opposed signify by saying no and raising your right hand.
No?
Okay, motion carries. Thank you, council. Okay, moving on to new business. Under number 7, item B, consideration of appointments and/or reappointments to Valdese Economic Development Investment Corporation, VEDIC. And looks like I'm the lead on that, so we have 2 applications, one from Rick McClure and one from, and I don't have that in front of me, just a second.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to nominate one more person.
Let's get these two. Yeah.
Okay,
I'd
hold
like
on
to
just,
nominate Gary Ogle, town council member.
We have Kylie Ellen Guerra.
Kelly Jarrah. Thank you. Okay. We'll vote on these one at a time. Council, do you have any questions or comments before we do that?
I just comment that VEDIC has been an institution that was started in Valdese many years ago. It's now become a statewide lending organization that gives small businesses a hand up. It started out as a philanthropic organization that gave small businesses a hand out. Valdese currently is entitled to make several appointments to the board of directors, which is good. I just think it would be good to have a council member on that board representing the town.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, our first nominee is Kylie Sierra. I suppose we'll do this by show of hands.
Mr. Mayor, can you just summarize how we're gonna do this?
I think I'll call out the name and do a show of hands. Is that
So we need to approve 2 of 3?
2 of 3? 2.
Why don't we just do a roll call vote and then we'll be sure.
Works for me. Is that all right?
That's fine.
Sure. Okay. For the first nominee, Kylie Sarah, we'll do a roll call vote. Councilman Mears, this will be for the placement on the VEDIC.
Yes.
Okay? Ma'am?
No.
No.
Mr. Harvey?
No.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Rick McClure. Mr. Mears?
Yes.
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 Okay. Councilman Ogle?
Yes.
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 Okay. All right. For the VEDIC board, it looks like the council's appointments will be Gary Ogle and Rick McClure. And I'm sure Carrie Petit will be in touch with you as far as meeting schedules and so forth. Okay? Item C. Item C, fiscal year 24-25 proposed budget and scheduling of public hearing for Monday, June 17th, 2024.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. As you're aware, we've gone through some workshops on budget. We made modifications to the budget based on input from the council. We met again on the 28th of May and went over the changes that had been made, and there was some additional tweaking that we did and had that all finished. Therefore, we went ahead with the budget message, and we put together the budget and made it available to the public with a public hearing scheduled for June 17th, 2024.
Council?
Are we gonna have a presentation on the budget draft?
No,
We're not.
not till June 17th.
So, all right, so citizens won't see it until June 17th?
No, it's available now.
I'm sorry?
It's available now
It's on the website.
on the website, I'm sorry.
Yeah, citizens can view the town budget on our website.
Well, I think the council's had the weekend to pore over the budget, and as a result, I guess I have some comments and 2 or 3 motions, and I don't know if anybody else does or not, but how would you like me to proceed? Can I start somewhere or just express what we saw?
I think if you have questions of Mr. Steen, you can certainly ask questions. I'm not sure what your motions are regarding, so I'm not.
Okay, well, let me just do it. First of all, the council had a serious handicap in the preparation of the budget and all the workshops. we never saw the projected year-end numbers until Friday evening. That's when they were released to us for the first time. And that what became a whole new animal than what we were looking at during the process. For example, and the most glaring example is that the fiscal year 23-24 budget, and I really would urge every citizen to go out, find that budget. Presently, I checked this afternoon, it's on the meetings and agendas website under June 3 agenda. But look at that budget, and you'll see that the fiscal year 23-24 budget was approved with a deficit of $238,000. The projected outcome of the fiscal 23-24 budget is a surplus of $390,000. That is a swing of $629,000. That $629,000, well, Mr. C's calling it Mr. Weichel, but that swing is equivalent to 1/4 of the total property taxes that were collected in 2023. So that's an initial reaction that I have to the budget. And again, the problem was that we did not know what the projected results were going to be for much of the budget during much of this budgeting process. Are we waiting for a reaction to that, or should I go ahead and make a motion or two?
Was that a question?
I have a couple motions. I think I have the right to make a motion or two, don't I?
If it's a motion relating to the budget, budgets require public hearings, so you most likely will have to wait until the public hearing is scheduled.
I can't make a motion to change the draft before the public hearing? We've been working on this draft for 3 months. I can't believe that the council does not have the authority to make a few motions to improve this budget draft.
Yeah, so that's not on tonight's agenda.
It is on tonight's agenda, isn't it?
Tonight's agenda is scheduling a public hearing for Monday.
It's fiscal year 24-25 proposed budget
I think-
and scheduling.
I think your motion would be more appropriate at the public hearing stage. If you were going to seek revision of the budget, I think you first need to have a public hearing on the budget.
So when will we adopt this budget then?
Well, I think you would still adopt it at the hearing.
Yes, it would be
I mean-
after the public hearing.
Yeah.
So I'll make a series of motions to essentially fix the budget on June 17th. If they pass, that will be the budget.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can talk to the manager outside of this session and discuss those changes. I don't know what the nature of your changes are gonna be.
Well, we have discussed the changes and they've been ignored. That's why they're coming up tonight.
Okay. Well, I don't think putting that before a motion tonight would be appropriate. But I think that you certainly can talk to the town manager about that, and you can bring your motions after the public hearing.
Well, I've indicated since we first saw this Friday that I had several motions that I'd like to present regarding the budget, and nobody said it wouldn't be appropriate. I always thought the council had the authority to make budget motions and changes at any time.
Maybe you can elaborate on the nature of your motions. What exactly are you asking for?
Well, there are 3 capital expenditure items that the council asked the Efficiency Task Force to review. They have reviewed them. They have not yet been resolved, but they're still in the budget. One is asking that those be deferred. I'm sorry.
They approved those according to Mr. Ogle.
I'm sorry.
The capital projects.
Well, we haven't.
What is the discussion?
The council hasn't approved the capital projects yet, I don't.
Right, the council has.
And so there were three capital improvement, capital expenditures in the Public Works Department that are being reviewed by the Efficiency Task Force, and they haven't resolved those yet. That's equivalent of about $111,000.
May I ask,
We have a position that was eliminated, and I shared the proposed motion for that position with the council and the town attorney and the manager. We don't know where that position stands and the savings of that position in this budget. With the salary budget, we've talked about the possibility of having, instead of a 5% cost of living adjustment, have a 4% cost of living adjustment and a 1% of that amount allocated to training. This town leadership has not done any staff developmental training in the recent past, as far as I can tell. And I think that is just horrible. I mean, if we want to attract good employees and we don't provide them with training, it's almost inconceivable that you would ignore training. That's it. I mean, those are the major ones. I mean, there are not that many items. There's just a few items, but they have some significant impact on what I think should be in a budget draft.
All right, so your proposed motions then are in the form of asking council to authorize the manager to make revisions to the proposed budget, which will come on for hearing.
What's that again, please?
So your motion is to ask the manager to make revisions to the budget, those revisions you just mentioned.
Right.
Which will then come on for hearing and approval.
Then would then come on for,
After the public hearing,
right,
for hearing and approval.
right.
So
Okay.
is that correct?
That sounds all right, yeah.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, I think you can take those issues up.
Okay.
I think you should take them up one at a time. I
Yeah.
think you'll need a motion on each.
Motion on each one if you want to, Mr. Harvey, please.
All right, let's see here. Let me suggest that the capital expenditures that are three vehicles or three pieces of equipment of the Public Works Department capital budget. I would make that one motion if that's all right.
Do you have what those are?
Yes, a Ford F-150 pickup truck estimated at $45,000, a tractor and mower estimated at $60,000, a roll-off dumpster estimated at $6,000. Those three items, if I had a chance to give my motion as I had drafted it, it would have been to remove them from the present budget and defer them until the Efficiency Task Force has had an opportunity to complete review of the overall analysis of equipment.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor to look at the capital improvement projects for Public Works, which includes an F-150 pickup truck, a tractor and mower, and a roll-off dumpster. Do I have a second?
So are we saying this will not, as far as, I'm sorry, I'm kind of trying to follow here. So we're saying this is something we're getting the manager to look at, what it would change the budget to if we did not do those three now, or?
Till the Efficiency Task Force looks at it, I believe is what you said, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's.
The motion is that we take those items out of the capital expenditure budget for fiscal 24-25.
Okay.
And they're be deferred until the Efficiency Task Force completes its study of the equipment.
Okay, I have a motion, do I have a second?
Okay, second.
Okay, any further discussion?
Are these items still in the budget?
Yes.
Yeah, they're still in the budget. So, you know, I've sat through these meetings with the efficiency task force, so from my understanding, they had already vetted these, and we've gone through this process. So this is kind of a new thing here. Certainly, we can continue to look at that, but because of that understanding, we left them in the budget.
Okay, because I want to point out that these amount of money that you're quoting, we're not going to get from these if we have to sell them. We have to sell them on gov deals, correct?
But these are capital items.
That are going to be ordered. Okay, it's not, okay, I thought we were talking about equipment we already had. Okay.
Now, these are
All right.
new items in the budget.
Is the truck something we already had?
That is a replacement truck.
Okay.
For a 10-year-old truck that we currently have, or 14-year-old truck, I'm sorry.
Okay.
14-year-old.
Maybe to shed a little light, when we met with UBO and the efficiency task force down at Public Works and Alan and his staff, I think I asked you the question, are these in our budget this year for capital projects? And I also asked you the question, would this affect our zero balance budget?
Right.
And your answer to me was, do you remember?
Right, it's in there, and the budget would be balanced with a little bit of fund balance. If we were, you know, we can pinpoint these items, or we can pinpoint other items that create a little bit of a draw from fund balance. So it would just kind of work, you know, how do you allocate that?
I'm sorry, which year are we talking about?
Sir,
These items,
this coming year.
This coming year
Fiscal
budget.
24, 25 budget.
Mhm.
All right.
When do you think the efficiency task force will look at
Well,
those?
we'd have to get, what, a 5-day notice, 10-day notice, Jessica, to publicize the efficiency task force, the meeting?
No.
Okay, so we can get together anytime. Okay, just publish it, we're gonna get together, okay. All right. And then at that time, the efficiency task force can come back with a recommendation to council.
Okay.
Is that,
Okay.
okay?
And will that be done before the budget hearing? Is that what I'm understanding? It will
It'll
have to, right?
It'll
Yeah.
have to be.
Okay. That's what I was making sure I was understanding, so.
Okay. Any further discussions? Questions? Okay, I've got a motion and a second on the first amendment. I'll take those in favor signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes?
I'm not sure what you're asking, Charlie, on this right here, is that
Okay.
what?
The,
You have an issue?
in the public works budget.
Right.
Your motion is just deferring this until the efficiency committee can look at it.
Basically,
Take them out of that and then let them look at it.
May,
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, if I may ask this, is there a way that we could possibly even reword this so it makes more sense to everybody? What I'm understanding is, this is just basically saying, we want the efficiency task force to look at these items, double check everything before we go into our budget hearing.
that's correct.
That makes, when it's said that way, I think it makes more sense to me, and probably,
That's exactly what I
I know,
understand.
for me, it made more
This,
sense.
this is getting unnecessarily muddy, I'm afraid. As I understand the state statute, when the manager of a municipality presents the budget, he has to present it by June 1st. We got it almost by June 1st.
No, June first.
And then the council, the municipality, has the opportunity to schedule additional meetings if necessary before the hearing and the adoption of the budget. So what we could do, and what we probably should do because of all this confusion, is schedule another meeting and deal with this up in between these two meetings. This got squeezed down to 2 weeks between when we received the draft, and again, it was not knowing what the projected outcome was that confused the whole issue. We have 2 weeks between when the draft was presented Friday afternoon and June 17th. 2 weeks in the weekend. So that's all the time we have, and I think, doesn't the state statute provide opportunity? I think I read that one time, that that's the period of time when the council should be scheduling meetings to resolve any concerns about that draft. And that's what, I thought with 2 or 3 motions, we might resolve some concerns about the draft
I think
tonight, but it's
we
not looking
can,
that way.
we can do your motions tonight, but I think the June 17th meeting, the public hearing is the last meeting we need to have and go forward there. So
I
let's-
thought Tuesday night's meeting, we discussed a lot of this stuff. And I thought we gave y'all direction on a lot of the things from the budget. That was my understanding from Tuesday afternoon's meeting, that we cleared up a lot of this. So I'm puzzled why we're talking about it again.
Last Tuesday was a preliminary review meeting of this agenda. It was not an action meeting.
Okay, folks, I got a motion on the floor. I have a motion and a second. Does everybody understand the motion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes.
Yes.
Those against signify by raising your right hand saying no.
No.
No,
Okay, motion carries 3-2. Okay,
All right, and one more. This one, if the last one was stirred up some discussion, this one should. Let me just read the motion as I drafted it and as I shared it with all the council earlier today. Whereas the interim manager has informed the council and has implemented measures to eliminate the former Water Resources Director position, I hereby move that the position be eliminated from the present pay plan schedule of positions and salary ranges, that the position opening be removed from the town's website and publications, and that the 2018 Ford Explorer that was assigned to this position be sold or traded for the purchase of the police cruiser that is budgeted under capital expenditures.
okay. Mr. Steen, could you relate the fact that we've done away with that position and hired McGill?
What we have done in the interim is to go ahead and divide those duties among 2 current staff members. And that is for however long it takes, whatever a final decision. I know we were talking about your new manager making a decision about or recommending something to council. I'm not sure how long that may be. And then in the interim, we are going to do a contract with McGill to cover those services that would normally be done by that person if we run into things that are beyond our current capacity with our current staff.
So that position has been eliminated.
That's what this motion would say.
Yeah, that's what's already been done.
No, it hasn't been taken out of the pay plan and the salary schedule. That's what this motion says. And this motion includes disposing of the 2018 Ford Explorer, which is valued between $17,000 and $20,000, and either selling it or applying it towards trading it in towards this police cruiser, which is in the budget, and I don't think anybody questions that we probably need a new police cruiser.
Is
Okay.
it allowed to trade in vehicles, or, I know we can't sell them, we have to go through Go Deals, but
We
how does-
do that, and the price that I was hearing was significantly less. We were planning to use that vehicle to replace a vehicle that's got serious transmission troubles, and that's where we are. I mean, we'll have to go through the normal process for getting rid of a vehicle. I don't know if that's something y'all want
I
to.
really don't think it's council's job to dictate daily operations and how vehicles are used and whether they're sold or traded or what. That's,
Do we have a motion or a second?
I'm-
Motion
yeah.
and a second?
yeah, and I'm finished in just a minute. That should be left up to the manager and department heads. We're not supposed to be involved in daily operations and micromanage folks. And I guess what you're asking on your motion is to just, you want the slate wiped clean that that position ever existed? Is that,
No,
even though it's not, doesn't exist?
no, I'm asking that the position be eliminated and that the vehicle that was assigned to it as a personal commuting vehicle for no other purpose be sold or traded. It's a Ford vehicle. Kelly Blue Book has its value between $17,000 and $20,000. Trade it, sell it or trade it for a police cruiser, which we're gonna buy from Ford.
Once again, we can't use the Kelly Blue Book price, correct? We have to go to Gov Deals. All of our vehicles must go to Gov Deals. We can't use the Kelly Blue Book price. I do realize that we have received an enormous amount of emails about this position and this vehicle. And I thought this position and this vehicle had all been settled several weeks ago.
Okay.
Well, we heard that the water department has a pickup truck that has a transmission problem. This vehicle is a passenger vehicle. So if the water department has a pickup truck that has a transmission problem, it ought to be fixed. This is a passenger vehicle. I
Okay,
don't think it has to do with value, it's an excess vehicle that should not have been in existence the last 2 years anyway.
Council, I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second? Okay, seeing none, motion fails. Next one, Mr. Harden, sir.
Oh, boy. This one I shared with the council as well, and again, got no feedback this afternoon or earlier today, so perhaps not again tonight. But here it is. Whereas the town council strives to provide our valued employees with the best possible benefits that taxpayers can afford, which among other benefits is exceptionally good group health insurance coverage known as a gold or a platinum plan, I therefore move that we bring back the 2 steps that the 2021 town council was prepared to address at its October 2021 meeting to take effect at June 30, 2022, until it learned at the meeting, at the October 2021 meeting, it learned that the compensation of council members can be adjusted only at the time of budget adoption. In accordance with the intention and research that the council and the staff had concluded and done in 2021 to be prudent and justifiable, I move that the changes the prior council intended to take effect in fiscal 2023 be adopted to take effect December 31st, 2024. And the two changes would be, first, ending all health, dental, vision, supplemental insurance benefits for council members effective December 31st, 2024. Secondly, increasing the town council member's stipend to $6,000 per year and the mayor's to $8,000 per year effective December 31st, 2024.
Okay. Do I have you've heard the motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay.
Can someone, oh, I'm sorry.
If I,
Yeah,
yeah,
go ahead.
thank you. If I comment on the timing, making it effective starting, surely it would be effective starting January 1st, 2025, gives us council members time to reinstitute the health insurance that we had in place when we took office. We all gave up a tremendous amount of time by coming onto the council, but we didn't have to give up our health insurance. We did that voluntarily because we had the opportunity to take the better health insurance coverage that we provide to employees. Secondly, on the timing issue, the terms of 4 of us end in November 2025. So that means there's going to be an election people will be filing for election next summer, and there'll be an election next fall. By addressing this issue now, we stop kicking it down the road, stop kicking the can down the road, and we don't pass this hot potato on to a new council, and we don't let it become an election campaign issue. And regarding the 2024-25 budget, it doesn't have a big impact on the budget, but it has some impact. The present budget draft has $60,000 benefit going to the 6 of us up here. 45,000 of that is insurance coverage, and the balance is the stipend. The present stipend, by the way, is $2,800 for each council member, $4,300 for the mayor. So if we implemented this, that would be a half a year. The present $60,000 that's in the governance activity we would spend 30,000 of that through the end of December, and then under this proposal, the annual cost would be 5 times 6,000 plus 8,000 for the mayor, or 38,000. One half of that would be $19,000. So the difference, if we implemented this effective December 31st or effective 1/1/2025, it would end up in a fiscal 24-25 budget savings of $11,000. And as I suggested in my email to all the council members today, it was the 2021 council had recommended $6,000 for council members as a stipend, $8,000 for the mayor. They made that recommendation. They came up with those numbers back in October 2021. There's been some inflation since then. I think there's some discussion here that's not coming through on the speaker system.
Okay.
As I suggested when I just shared this with the council members, if you think it should be higher, then we could make the numbers higher. We could make it $7,000 for council members, 9 for the mayor, 8 for council members, 10 for the mayor. I just think it's ethically important that the council get out of dipping into the benefits that we provide to town employees. I have a problem with that. I campaigned against it, and a lot of people have a problem with that. A lot of our citizens do. But it is what it is. And the stipend that we have presently of $2,800 and $4,300 relative to other towns is low. So I'm all for boosting that up. I'm all for the council getting out of the employees' group insurance plan.
Okay, I'm going to summarize your motion. The motion is to do away with council insurance, town-provided council insurance. Increase the stipend for council members to $6,000 annually, and the mayor's $8,000 annually, effective December 31st of 2024.
That would be it.
Okay, that's the motion. I need a second.
Second.
We'll second it.
Okay, any further discussion?
Yeah, I just want to say this. One of my biggest things about running for office was trying to prove that you did not have to be a millionaire. You did not have to be a lawyer. You did not have to be anything special in a community to run. You just had to believe in something and run. But I do know, as a person who is a minister and basically self-employed, I do event planning, it does take a lot of time. And I want people to realize this, it is not just 2 meetings a month. As a matter of fact, for the last 2 weeks, my kids are like, you're going to another meeting, and I'm like, it's not just meetings with the town, it's meeting state officials, it's meeting county officials, it's constantly something. I personally am fine with giving up the insurance as long as there is something, because I am a part-time worker, it's hard for me to get insurance. So if there was a way that we could say maybe cover $400, I think when I did the math today, if it was around $6,500 to $7,000, it would cover, like if anybody did come in my position to where you're working for yourself, at least you're taking care of them. Because even if I'm not in this position, I believe every person on this council deserves more than just $2,800 a year, because it is a tough, it's mentally taxing. And a lot of times I joked, I said, you may want to get us all life insurance, because it's a stressful position and it keeps you up a lot of nights. So I am fine with that. Would you entertain possibly upping that? So in the future, if there are people in my position who are not old enough to receive, I don't even, is it Medicare, that they would be taken care of. So people who are in my position could continue to feel comfortable running for office and saying, hey, I want to make a difference, and it's not hard for them to.
I agree with that 100%. And I'll be the first to admit, there's no way I would have done this even 3 years ago, because I couldn't have afforded to give up my hunting to do this. Let alone, I don't know how anybody who's employed could serve on a council if you're gonna do a conscientious job and dig into these issues the way you dig into them. It just takes huge amount of time. And I have no reservation about any amount that makes anybody feel that we would be fair to and not eliminate anyone from running for this council. I'm all for that. The only problem I have is that I don't think that when we are sworn and ethically committed to providing the best possible benefits for our employees, that we should put ourselves into that benefits program. I just don't think that's correct, and that's my only stand. But I would welcome an amendment to move this up to whatever number makes anybody feel comfortable with.
From what I have seen as far as, and I hate to call it Obamacare because I know that's not what it really is, but when I'm looking at it to receive insurance on my own, you're looking at about $400 a month, which is cheaper than what the town currently pays. So I do feel like it's great. I'm at least helping somewhat. But I do feel like it is sad when we have, in a lot of government positions, you make it to where people who are just out there trying to make a difference can't, because, and I always thought it was sad that it's like you have to have this status to run for an office, because anybody should be able to fight for the voices of people in the community. So that's me, and I just want to make sure anybody who comes after me, I may, in 3 years, they probably might hate me and run me out of town, but if that's the case, I want whoever is here after me to be taken care of. I want y'all to be taken care of.
You want to amend your motion?
I would love to, yeah, I guess, but I don't know, I'm not one to pull for myself, so that's weird for me. What do y'all feel like is a
We did a
fair?
quick math. You said 400 a month, that's 5,000 a year. If you add that to 2,800, that would be $8,000 for council members. Right, that rounded it up a little bit, that's 8,000 for council members, 10 for the mayor.
I just want to go on record stating that I don't think anyone on council here ran for the, for the benefits, especially for the health insurance or the stipend. I don't have any problem giving up health insurance benefits, dental vision, as long as our employees get the 5% pay raise. That's what I want. So I don't have any problem giving up these benefits. Proposal is December 2024, is that the proposal?
Okay, I'm gonna restate the motion. The motion is for council to give up town-provided insurance, and your stipends would be increased to $8,000 for council, $10,000 for the mayor, and that would be effective December 31st of 2024. Any questions?
Yeah, you didn't actually have an amendment for that, but I would make that amendment to my original motion.
Okay,
That's fine.
did you get, okay. Those in favor signify by raising your right hand and saying yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, those opposed, seeing none, motion carries.
and I did give up my insurance at 8 o'clock this morning before any of this took place. So I just wanted to say that I did do that.
I gave mine up about 2 weeks ago, so
Mr. Mayor, I have some bad news for you.
lay it on me.
I don't have any more motions.
Yay.
Glenn, you disappoint me.
Wow. Wow.
Okay,
I do have one. We'll go back to the first motion, just to clarify. So we are taking the F-150, the tractor mower, and the roll-off dumpster out of the budget?
yes,
Okay.
until the efficiency committee advises something.
And
Gotcha.
you would like for us to get back to you on the 17th or before?
Well, we're modifying the motion, and we're modifying what I understood the efficiency task force to be reporting in its minutes and at the meeting recently. So I think it's simply take those out of the budget for now.
I thought you said until the efficiency task force had a chance to
No,
look
that
at
was
it.
a reason. The reason was to give them the opportunity. The efficiency task force, we've asked them to look at the entire inventory of equipment in the Public Works Department, and at the last report that the committee gave, the task force gave to the council, they referred to a Caterpillar dumpster, huge thing, which might be worth $100,000, $200,000 that the town has no use for. So they haven't finished the analysis of what equipment do we not need that we could part with and use it to purchase other equipment. And I also heard or read in the minutes from the efficiency task force that the Public Works Department was asked to check the cost of mowing berms in the town to see if it was more efficient to hire someone to mow the berms or to purchase a $60,000 tractor. I mean, I heard that, I think, from the efficiency task force. So I think this motion, as I intended it, was just to take those three items out. I gave as justification that the efficiency task force is working with the Public Works Department to do a whole lot of analysis, but
Okay.
not with a time limit, just take it out of there.
You deferred until the efficiency task force looks at it.
Taken out of this draft.
All right, so just a suggestion, what we can do is take them out, let the efficiency task force do their thing. If June 17th comes and not done yet, later on, if council decides to amend the budget for these items, we can do a budget amendment to add them back in.
Thank you.
Does that work for everybody?
Second?
Okay.
That works.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Bo. All right. Councilman Ogle would like to take 5 minutes, so we'll take a 5-minute break. Start back. If you take your seats, please. Under item 7, new business, item D, consideration of approving resolution establishing new Town of Valdese ad hoc street maintenance committee. Councilman Harvey.
I apologize to everybody for having so much of the microphone here this evening. The new council members have been struggling with learning how the town operates, and one of the mysteries has been the board's panels and committees of the town. And as I think everybody knows, it took us about 3 months to get 3 new ad hoc committees established. The Facilities Review Committee, which is now on its way to helping the council address its distressed public safety building. The Drug and Homeless Committee is addressing the homeless encampments and the crack houses that the town management and leadership denied even existed last year. The Efficiency Task Force is just getting underway on the deep analysis of operations and the several $1 million of equipment that the town's accumulated over the years. So it's taken 6 months to understand the structure of some of these panels And, for example, there's a street paving committee that I found myself appointed to in December. I don't know how I got appointed because I just learned a couple weeks ago that that's a committee that is the manager's committee. It's the town manager's committee, and the town manager makes the appointments. But we didn't have a town manager when I got appointed, so I don't know how I got appointed. But anyway, I was glad to be part of that. In preparation for the meeting, I reached out. I thought it was a public meeting like our facilities committee, or our drug and homeless committee, and our efficiency task force committee. And I reached out into the community for some information I have for the last 2 or 3 months since I knew I was going to be on that committee. And as a result, connected with some former employees of the North Carolina Department of Transportation, made some contact with them, introduced our Public Works Director to the District 13 engineer, which is the engineer who oversees the projects on the eastern side of Burke County for the State Department of Transportation. That in turn is a part of Division 13, which is managed out of Asheville. And so at this committee meeting we had with Alan Hudson's assistance and input from some citizens, we ended up with a list of about 30 streets that need some work. And those 30 streets are going to be more than we can afford to repave, because in the past it's cost $350,000 a mile to repave streets. The town, by the way, the town is responsible for maintaining 35 miles of streets. But at any rate, Alan Hudson has presented a list of 30 streets that need repaving in the opinion of at least this committee. And the committee is the mayor, myself, and four town employees. He submitted that list of 30 streets to the Department of Transportation. They're going to give us an estimate. They're going to give Alan an estimate of what it would cost to repave those streets. And then the work begins, because undoubtedly it's going to be more than we can afford to do. We have $500,000 in this draft budget that we spent a lot of time talking about tonight, which is the same amount that was spent in this past year. And by the way, up until this past year, the town was only spending about $100,000, $125,000, $150,000 a year on repaving. That was a schedule that was going to get all of our streets repaved once every 68 years. And that was not quite realistic. Now we're on a better schedule at $500,000 this past year and the coming year. So we'll see. Hopefully DOT will come up with some prices that will let us get even more paving done in 2025 than we got done in 2023, 24. And then when they tell us what, and they're going to give us a price, of an estimate of what it would cost to do each of those streets. And by the way, if we hire DOT to do that for us, they do the whole job. They do the planning, they do the management, they do the testing, they make sure the standards are met. So they'll manage the entire job. Last year, the town hired a company to do about $430,000 worth of paving, and then had to hire another engineering firm to manage that paving project. So we spent about 10% just to manage the paving. But if we can have the state do it, they'll manage the whole thing. And that'll take a load off of our Public Works Department, hopefully. So, and then we learned that there's another organization called the Transportation Research, the Institute for Transportation Research and Education, ITRE, Institute for Transportation Research and Education. It's a state agency that's based at North Carolina State University. And they turn out engineers, as you know. But that agency, ITRE, does training of streets personnel. They do research, and I think that either Alan or Bo is going to contact them and see if they might help the town put together a 10-year plan to do a total 10-year maintenance, street maintenance plan. Our streets don't all need to be repaved. Some need to be patched and sealed and other things done to them. But at any rate, there's 2 state resources there that are being explored. Back to the big job ahead of us. When Ellen Hudson gets that list back of what it's going to cost to pave these 30-some streets, then the paving committee is going to have to decide which $500,000 worth of those streets are going to be paved. And I don't know if we can get this ad hoc committee put together fast enough, but at any rate, the purpose of this committee is to, the motion I would make is to adopt a resolution establishing the Street Maintenance Committee to engage citizens who use our streets daily to help set priorities for maintaining and repaving our streets. So that's the motion. The resolution, it was part of the agenda packet. This motion would just be approving that resolution. My comments on the other 2 committees will be much more brief than that one.
Okay, council, you've heard the motion. Do I have a second?
Second?
Okay, any further discussion? Questions?
Do we not already have a list, I know we do on our website, of a study that was done last year as to what, Councilman Mears has a copy, as to where streets are, where you are on the list as to whether when your street gets paved, that's all been completed, correct?
That's my understanding. Those streets were scored.
Yes.
We didn't want citizens deciding what streets would get paved because citizens might want their street paved. So we
Absolutely.
hired an independent firm to, and this was not an exact science. There's, you can, tweak this a little bit, obviously, but they did score these streets based upon the condition. Some of them just needed to be resurfaced. Some of them needed to be completely replaced. My question would be, would this committee, Councilman Harvard, be in addition to the street committee, or would this replace the street committee?
I think it would probably replace it. The street committee doesn't announce meetings. They're not public meetings. They don't issue an agenda. They don't issue minutes. It's a manager's committee. So the manager can do what he wants, but this would be an ad hoc committee of the town council that would, if the paving committee continues to exist, would work with it, I would assume, and work with the staff. And there's one of the things that came up, a big thing that came up in the street paving meeting that we had a couple weeks ago, is that that's a bad study. For example, this past year, the town paved about 7 or 8 streets at a cost of just under $500,000. The estimate in that study for those same streets was $1.8 million. They were 4 times off what the actual cost was. And then if you look at how some of those streets were rated to get out and drive on them, you wonder where those numbers came from. So that study is a couple years old. It probably needs to be redone. It would be wonderful if the Department of Transportation or the Institute for Transportation Research and Education would evaluate that study and maybe do something that would replace it, or something longer term than that. So this would be picking up where that thing left off, maybe.
But I thought that study was 2023. Am I incorrect?
I'm sorry?
It's August 2022.
2022.
It's about
Okay.
2 years old. My concern is that we're removing creating all these committees, first off, we're looking to hire a new manager. My opinion would be, let's hold off on this committee. Let's see what the direction would be from our new manager. Plus, we already have a street committee. Let's let some of our, we need to have our manager, we need to have, Alan, mayor, they need to be able to make some of these decisions without every decision being made by a committee. I just think that you can have too many committees, in my opinion. Some of these responsibilities need to be made at the management level. They don't have to be made. We don't have to create all these committees. Let's trust our manager. Let's trust Public Works Department to make these decisions, and counsel with the mayor and the town council. That's my opinion.
Council, for the record, I just want to make clear, when we keep referring to a street committee, we do not have an established council street committee. What's been referred to as a committee up here is actually just a meeting by the manager with staff who have pertinent knowledge relating to streets. And that is why it doesn't fall under public meeting laws. Yep, I just want to make that clear.
Jim, I also believe, Councilman Mears, that you involve more public, more citizens in these committees as well. And also, as we hire a new town manager, I think these committees can report to him or her, either one. And I think that would be welcomed by the new town manager.
Well, we've received several emails asking us to slow down and not do things until the town manager gets here. So why are we doing this? Why aren't we in the same vein saying, okay, let's wait on these committees until the town manager gets here? Because we've been we're asking to wait on other positions and things until the town manager gets here.
I just think council's trying to micromanage everything that happens with this town, with these committees. It's just not a good direction for council to go in. We have 3 committees. Now we're working on 6. Does it go to 9, then 12, and then 15? It can get a little absurd.
And I've actually heard opposite from a lot of the citizens, especially last week we went, my son and we went and walked. We actually passed out things to merchants in the town. We were asking how they felt about certain things, and they were like, we are so excited to see how you are involving the citizens, how people have more of a voice. So I do see where it can go both ways. I know everybody's like, more committees, more committees, more committees, but really it's just the citizens having a more condensed way to say, this is how we feel about things. Because they don't always call us. They don't always send us emails. But when they have the committees to report to, a lot of times they're out there on the ground getting people's opinion, and it makes the council more people-friendly. Like tonight, there were a lot of decisions that I made tonight that if I hadn't have had people on committees or things talking to me about, I wouldn't have went the way I went, because the more voices you hear, the more informed decisions you can make for your town. So that's how I kind of
So what were we passing out to citizens?
I was just asking citizens how they felt about our town, how they felt as far as the committees that had already been done. Do you like the direction we're going with our town? And then we were asking them how they felt, some of the merchants, how they felt about us doing a ad hoc merchant committee, because we want to ask, how do you feel about that?
Okay, so there was a flyer given to them?
Yes.
Is my understanding?
Yes.
Is that not the cart before the horse?
No, that to me
out
is
there,
asking people, how do you feel about this before we start a committee? It's get opinions from people. It's what anybody does before you start a committee. You're like, is this even something that we need? I don't see what the problem is with just asking citizens what they want. So I guess.
The resolution that I made the motion to approve was part of the agenda package, so that the council has had that as long as they have the agenda packet. As a matter of fact, I shared it with the council a week or so before the agenda packet went out. So.
Okay, I have a motion and a second on the floor. Are there any further questions? Okay, Those in favor signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes.
Yes.
Those opposed signify by saying no and raising your right hand.
No.
3-2, motion carries. Okay, item E, consideration of approving resolution establishing new Town of Valdese Ad Hoc Utilities Infrastructure Committee. Councilman Harden.
Yes, as described in connection with the Street Maintenance Committee, the town's water and sewer lines are an even more important infrastructure on which every Valdese resident depends. So I move to adopt the resolution that's in the agenda packet, establishing a utilities infrastructure committee to engage citizens and businesses who use our utility systems daily to help set priorities for maintaining and replacing our water and sewer lines.
Okay, Council, you heard the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions, discussion?
Is this not what we pay McGill to do?
Yes.
Hey, what?
We pay McGill's to do this stuff. Is this not what we pay them to do?
I don't think so.
We don't pay them to do our infrastructure?
Yeah, they're under contract to provide all kind of engineering services, advice, professional recommendations. Again, I think the Utilities Infrastructure Committee, I mean, as citizens, they don't have the expertise that someone like McGill would have, so.
This would not replace engineering services at all. This is giving citizens the opportunity to, for example, if they see a sewer line leaking somewhere, they could report to this committee. This committee might work with McGill to find out the condition and the status of some of our water and sewer lines. It would just be an oversight. It would be an opportunity for citizens to look at something that's very important to all citizens and businesses. Some of us were involved in calling on businesses, and we heard they had some serious concerns about our utilities that were different. They weren't a matter of engineering concerns. In fact, I mean, the 10-year plan that McGill does for town is wonderful, but that has largely to do with the water plant and the wastewater plant. This would just be an opportunity for citizens to get involved, advise the council, advise the management on concerns that they see with some of the water and sewer lines.
So like a sewer leak, that you would go to this committee? Is that what you're saying? If I had a water leak, I went to this committee. If I have a sewer leak, I go to this committee. I just.
You've got management by committee. I mean,
Yeah.
I just think this is a bad idea.
I think, again, everybody has had these
Yeah.
resolutions for a couple of weeks.
Especially on utilities, infrastructure.
I mean, I could read the whole resolution, but you've all had it.
Yeah. I'm just asking because I just feel like this is what we hire McGill to do, and I just don't see.
I would hope if we had leaks, Public Works would be contacted.
I would too, that we contact Public Works,
just
so
another-
it's just
step.
another committee. I don't understand what the purpose really is.
One of the, if this is approved, we'll have to make an amendment, and we can do that before I sign this. At the bottom of page 221, under the Utilities Infrastructure Committee, it says that they will, regarding ways to care for, maintain, and/or improve town-owned and managed streets. So that
Right.
probably needs to say,
It will be from the first whereas care and maintenance of water plant, wastewater plant, and numerous miles of water and sewer lines owned and managed by the town.
I'm not aware of any citizen that would have the
Expertise to
They
do
would have
that.
to go to training.
That's
They would
my
have to get
question.
certification to
Yeah.
be able to give any sound advice. I respect the opinion of our citizens, and I want to involve them as much as possible, but I just
But
don't,
this-
I don't see the wisdom behind establishing a utilities infrastructure committee when there's no way I could serve on that committee. It's like asking someone to give advice when they don't, about insurance when they're not even licensed to give advice. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Mr. Mayor, may I call a question, please?
Okay, I have a motion and a second on the floor. Those in favor signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes.
Yes.
Those opposed signify by saying no and raising your right hand.
No.
Okay, motion carries 3-2. Item F.
All right, Merchants Advisory Committee. Economic development begins at home, and there's no group of individuals who contribute more to the economic development of our town that attracts tourists and generates an increasing amount of sales tax revenue than our local merchants. Valdese once had an active merchants association that folded for unknown reasons. However, in recent visits to most of our merchants, we found strong support for the establishment of a formal town committee, an ad hoc committee, and therefore I move to adopt the resolution establishing the Merchants Advisory Committee to advise the town management and council on ways to make Valdese even more attractive to customers and visitors, and that we increase the proposed membership of this committee to 7, which would be an amendment to the resolution that was in the agenda packet.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Can you share which businesses were enthusiastic about this?
I think most of the merchants from one end of Maine to the other were given a copy of this version of this resolution. I talked to maybe 15 or 20 of them. They all thought it was a great idea. It was real estate firms, insurance firms, watchmaker, I mean, you name them. You go up and down Main Street. I didn't find one person, in fact, the reason that we're suggesting this be 7 members instead of 5 is that there seemed to be so much enthusiasm for it. But
So they can't form their own committees without the town, less government involvement, that we stay out of it and let them form their own committee?
I think the biggest thing that I was hearing as I was talking to the business owners, and this one is definitely a big one for me because a lot of our business owners do not live in Valdese. From the ones I talked to, they live outside, but they are still paying taxes to Valdese. So giving them some type of voice where they can say, hey, as a couple of them just felt like they were kind of ignored if they were too far out. I'm not saying that's how, I don't know. I'm not accusing anyone. Please don't take it that way. I'm simply saying this is how they were feeling. So I just don't want to have that meshed together right now. Some of them were just really excited to have somebody just talking to them. They were excited to have a council member stop by. They're like, thank you for stopping by and talking to us. This sounds like a great idea. It's not so much a thing of more government. It's a thing of those town merchants being able to say, this is what we're seeing when people come in. This is what they're talking about. Could the town possibly do this? Because none of these committees really are making any firm, that we're not changing any of the town policy. We just come in and give suggestions. So I don't see a problem with the town merchants saying this is what we would like to see in the town. It would help us out. Because that opens up doors for more merchants wanting to come to Valdese because they feel like the town, like we just talked about with Foothills, it does make them feel more welcome here. So
I just know they used to have a Valdese Merchants Association that they were affiliated themselves and the town was not involved, so that's my question.
30 years ago, I was the president of the Merchants Association for 1 year. But I know Marissa, is there a Merchants Association established now? Disbanded, I think, because of the lack of interest.
That's correct. It did a few years back. I want to say it was 2017, 2018. I think I saw Marianne. She's going to shoot me for pointing her out, but Marianne was the president when it was last a functional committee, functional nonprofit itself. Am I right? 2017, 2018, something like that. Yes, due to lack of interest. So because of that, we do have the Main Street Committee. And within the Main Street Committee, you have subcommittees, economic development, promotion, design. The whole goal of the Main Street Committee is exactly what you're mentioning there. And that committee does meet quarterly. So that is another option for merchants and building owners, business owners to get involved.
I think it'd be good, the merchants and the Main Street Committee to get together.
And that's the way it has been set up in the past.
Right.
Is that essentially the economic development subcommittee of that program has been mostly merchants that have been involved.
So do we need two committees?
Well, the Main Street Committee is not a public committee. Where would somebody go to find the minutes of the Main Street Committee?
The minutes of the Main Street Committee, it's a group of volunteers that come together that have conversations about brainstorming ideas and things like that. So I serve as the Main Street Director for the town.
Yeah, so it's not really a committee. If a committee doesn't have an agenda and it doesn't have minutes.
It does have an agenda, yes, sir.
Well, I don't.
We put those together
But it
every
doesn't do
meeting.
minutes, it doesn't do reports, it doesn't.
It does do reports. We do an
I mean,
annual.
I don't have anything against the Main Street Committee. They put a lot of benches around town. I thought that was.
Well, in
great
order to be a
effort.
state Main
But-
Street Committee, we do have to submit annual statistics and also an annual report. We also have an annual agreement that we commit to be a Main Street program within the state. It's a high honor to achieve that.
I think Mr. Ruggles got a good idea there. It'd be good to get that information out to the merchants. But this is a town council ad hoc committee recommendation. The resolution is out there. We found great support for it when we talked to merchants. And the merchants are pretty important people. They're bringing a lot of sales tax to the town, and they're bringing a lot of visitors to the town, so.
Yeah, I'd like to see our merchants get together and decide, you know, what they want to do. And then if they want to go to Main Street Committee, that's fine. One thing that I talked to a merchant about is we need traffic in our stores, and we're not getting any traffic in our stores. Maybe the merchants can come up with an idea of how we get traffic in our stores. What do we need to do? The Main Street Committee and the Merchants Committee both could work on that. I think that'd be a great idea for both of y'all to work on that.
One thing we need to keep in mind is it's the town's job to get people into town. But to get folks in your store, that's their job.
Well, and I
Just
think
a
that's
thought.
I think that's why this committee might be able to help.
Working together, maybe. Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Those in favor signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes.
Those opposed signify by raising your right hand stating no.
No.
3-2, motion carries. Item G, consideration of interim town manager. Who's going to present that?
Well, it says council, but you have a memo from me in your agenda packet, I believe. As you know, I'm finishing up about 6 months. I'm starting to edge up on the number of hours I can work as a retired county manager. And July and August are usually fairly slow months, so praise God we don't have a tornado or a hurricane. But this is my recommendation that the council consider appointing our assistant manager, Bo Wenzel, at a salary of $130,000, if that's the will of the board.
Okay, council, you've heard the manager's recommendation. What's your pleasure?
I make a motion that we accept the resignation of our interim manager and appoint Bo Weichel as our interim manager on June 28th, 5:01 p.m.
Yes, and that he also be appointed to represent you on the ABC board, VEDIC board, and there's
BDI.
BDI, I'm
BDI,
sorry, it just
okay.
went blank, but that way he's covered. Thank you.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I second that motion.
Okay, any further discussion?
I saw the recommendation from the manager, and it was a little more complicated than what we last discussed. I would like to defer this, I move that we defer this motion to our next closed session, which is June 21st, and consider it at that time.
Okay, I already have one motion on, sorry. Okay, so you're making a motion to table this until the next closed meeting,
Postpone it until the next closed session of the town council.
okay? You've heard the motion to table or postpone. Do I have a second?
Yeah, I would second that motion. To table it until the June 21st closed session meeting.
Mr. Mayor, the next meeting's June 17th.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, we'll schedule a closed session for June 17th then. Okay, I have a motion to table it till June 17th. I have a second. Any further discussion?
How did we get to June 17th? I'm sorry.
That's our next council meeting.
Our budget meeting.
Yeah.
And if we,
We don't have a closed session then. We're gonna have scheduled a
we can
closed session?
schedule one, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Those in favor of Councilman Harvey's motion signify by raising your right hand and stating yes.
yes.
Those opposed signify by raising your right hand and stating no.
No.
Motion carries 3-2. Okay. Mr. Manager, your report, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Family Friday nights continue each Friday in June on Temple Field from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Valdese Independence Day celebration Friday, June 28th, 2024 at 6 p.m. Main Street. And the next regular council meeting is scheduled for Monday, June 17th at 6 p.m.
Okay. Council, what's your pleasure?
May I make a motion to adjourn?
Could I say something really fast? I just want to take a moment, as my comments tonight and brag
We
on,
had comments, I'm sorry.
oh, sorry, brag on Chief Sharp. I know he doesn't want probably me to do this, but I am so excited. Today I was at an opioid settlement, meeting. And the fact that we had people from Raleigh recognizing what was happening in Valdese was tremendous to me. I was able to share with them about, what we're planning. Can I let anybody know what we're planning this week, or are we waiting for do you mind letting everyone know in case somebody wants to donate to that? Or are we letting anybody know are we at a, okay, I'll wait on that. I let them know what's going on with the drug and homeless, task force, and they were all, really excited. The opioid settlement is pretty huge for Burke County. We're getting a lot of funds through that, and I've been privileged to be at a meeting last week and this week, but I just wanted to say, good job, guys, keep it up, because it's getting Valdese is getting some good reports in Raleigh, so thank you for everything that you and the police department are doing to help fight the issues that we've been seeing, so thank you.
Okay, council, I've received a couple of calls on emails and telephone calls not being returned by council. So if we would, let's remember, if we get a complaint or someone has a question, that we need to promptly respond to their request, please. And I have a motion on the floor to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I'm sorry, I made that motion too quickly perhaps. I didn't mean to cut anybody else
That's all right.
off if they want to make comments.
Anybody else have any comments? Okay, have a motion and a second. Those in favor of adjournment, say yes.
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 Yes.